for row 2 today. We managed to keep off the rain last night, which is great. No rain forecast for today. Hooray! Even though there was a couple of days ago. So cement's knocked up already. We've painted the bitumen between all the bricks now as well, so it should give us a little bit of help to stop some of the damp rising up through the brickwork. We seem to have problems like in our household and our water, I don't know why, but it just seems to be a problem with all our walls. So let's get ahead of the schedule on this one. So yeah, wish us luck, and we'll speak at the end of the day probably.
Okay, so let's roll that time lapse in. So we had a good start yesterday, finishing off all those bottom run. Now we're getting onto the second line, so we're beginning to get our experience in here a bit more. I'm definitely learning how to mix the cement better. I'd love to say I give you loads of tips on laying blocks, but I'm no block layer. So what we will now look at is a few extra pieces, like I'm going to be putting in a DPC, the damp core proof membrane. That's the black plastic you'll see on the right hand side of the screen. We've put that in on the side of the wall there, just to stop any of the damp rising up between the grass and the pond wall itself. Just going to help as we're going to render it later on, just to stop any of that damp getting through. So that's one little bit of advice to give you, as some of the pond is obviously buried. What we will then be doing, just laying those sort of flagstones, using the level, making sure we're getting flat lines across all the different areas. So yeah, it's a lot going on, and it can get quite tedious laying one block after another block after another block. When we are laying the blocks, I'm using a grinder to cut them to the right shapes. You'll see that on the left hand side of the screen every time a big white patch of smoke goes up. It's a big grinder to get through those big blocks. We're using a rubber mallet as well, just to hit those blocks down onto the bed of mortar, making sure they've got a full connection. You don't want any gaps underneath there, and then just checking their level going across the different corners. Lots of different size levels really do help in that aspect as well. Mix on the cement side of things, we've been using 4 sand, and we're using sharp sand. For those who don't know the difference, building sand is what I normally call the very fine yellow sand, but for what we're doing here, actually sharp sands can be better to give a better connection on the cement and the blocks, and then using obviously 1 part standard cement as well for the mix. So it's nice and strong. You'll see that via the colour of the mix in the wheelbarrow there as well. Just seen also, let's put in another part of the DPC on the left hand side of the screen as well. That area is going to be slightly submerged as well in the ground, so again, just stopping the damp get through. It's not going to be perfect all the way around. Some areas we couldn't fit it in at the back, but hopefully there shouldn't be much damp coming through from the other piece of concrete for the filter pit. So what we wanted to try and make sure before the very end of the day was to get the flagstones connected up before we finished, so they're all nicely set for the following day. So we were going the extra mile here. We were losing light rapidly, but by getting those sort of 8 or so blocks in place, it will just set us up for a quicker start the following morning. Those first 8 or so are the difficult ones to lay and make sure you've got bang on level, and then the other ones will just go in between. See, it's getting pretty dark now, getting the torches out. But I hope you enjoyed the video. More to come. Please like and subscribe. Thanks guys.